Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Weighing in at a combined weight of 735 pounds from Port Orchard, Washington, the Bad Brothers Podcast. Keep it going. In the blue corner, weighing in at, pardon me, I would never be so rude as to presume a lady's weight, Delilah. And what we have here is a good old face-off of two heavyweights. Again, apologies for presuming Delilah's weight. I'm not saying she's a heavyweight. I'm saying her presence is weighted heavily in my eyes. I'm not nationally syndicated. I mean, my podcast is everywhere you have an internet connection, but so I mean, we're on the equal playing field now. But Will, let me tell you, somebody is coming for the crown. Remember how we were voted Port Orchard's #1 podcast 2 years running? Another challenger. I haven't found many challengers. I mean, I just haven't found that many good people. But listen to this. Delilah Renee, also known Delilah. You ain't nowhere as Delilah Renee. She comes from Port Orchard, Washington. She's nationally syndicated. She brings the heat every time you're on the radio. And by heat, I mean stories of 4 divorces. But she's giving you love advice. Delilah, I want you to play me a song, my lady. Play me that song. Come on, girl. Give it to me. Give it to me one time. You're supposed to come in with the music part. The music part. The breakdown. The breakdown. Go. Yeah. Oh, in my car, we're rocking. It's 106.9. I just got divorced. I need something to make me feel good. Delilah, can you make me feel good? Give me some Michael Bolton. Give me the love song. Give me a duet. Girl, there's no duets in pop music anymore. Nobody makes a good duet anymore, do they? Give me a duet, Delilah. Give me a love song. It's love songs with Delilah. Hey. Oh. Oh.
Bad Brothers
Give it to me, yeah.
Podcast.
I was trying not to be loud.
Oh,
But
Ricky's gone.
Oh, he is?
That's what I said.
What?
Well, maybe, I don't know her name. Stephanie?
Sorry, Stephanie.
I don't know.
Oh, plus I haven't had any water today. That's because I was afraid I was going to have to pee at Mark Norman. And then I had too many water stealers while we were out tonight.
Water stealers.
Okay. As much as you and I mean, we love Delilah. I think I told a story on here I was in the car one time and I tried to tell a story about Delilah and my
And
dad's
our father.
and our father. He said, "You don't know her," and I thought in my head, "You don't know her."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "She's a good woman."
Mm-hmm. But who's been to Delilah's Halloween party?
You.
Me.
Wow.
Not our father.
So I've been looking high and low, hither and yon. Oh, hither and yon. Where did I pull that from? Good pull. And I have been looking for a challenger, as I stated at the beginning, of who could face us in the title for Port Orchard's Finest podcast. And I realized that I actually know of a couple people that maybe you don't know, but who are sort of mildly related to a youth group with me who have podcasts, but I already know they're not Port Orchard's Finest, so I'm not even.
Is his name Will?
No, I'm not even trying to give him credit because
I just learned the new youth pastor of our old church.
Matt
is
Haber.
Will.
his name is Will.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what he's like. He I guess was like a missionary some place in Mexico or something like that.
He knows my friend Michael B. Holes, so I'm supposed to call him back and see what he visited. So anyway,
Yeah, he went to CLC.
mm-hmm.
Oh, give it to me one time. Oh, so actually, tangent real quick. This thing's been going around Twitter. So Twitter for me is sports, some sports, and some my Christianity.
Okay.
So I got my one Instagram that's 100 people, 100 of my closest things. Like, hey, if I just want to like be on Instagram without any whatever interruptions, 100 things, easiest MDB. I expand it to some celeb news, some photography stuff, some random things.
Plastic surgery.
Yeah, plastic surgery. That's greasy as MDB.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Bad Brothers.
Wait, so is it easy as MTB and then greasy, or is it easy as MTB and then greasy as MTB?
In my head, I just say greasy.
See, that bothers me for some reason.
I know.
In my head, I say greasy.
Greasy. Well, since our family is from the South,
Yeah.
Half of them, it can be greasy.
Winda.
Yeah. Washington.
Winda there yonder.
Oh, Windows. That's such a great one. But, what was I just saying? Oh, Twitter. The thing going around Twitter the other day was people are hiring ghostwriters for their sermons.
Oh.
And I was just like,
You mean the Holy Ghost?
who said that? Ryan Day. He's like, if that's the case, all my sermons are ghost written, Holy Ghost written, So that was just funny. I don't like to say Ryan Day is funny, but
I mean, I just thought of that.
he
joke
actually is
without
funny.
him.
Nice guy.
I didn't read him saying that, but I just said that.
And for me, I have a different relationship because it's part of the reason I got kicked out of CLC was my noting that Virgil had not given an original sermon in years.
Mm-hmm.
And one time he said my friend Craig Rochelle, or he said my buddy Craig Rochelle in a sermon, and I was at the early service, and I said, Matt, listen, second service, did he say my buddy Craig Rochelle? And he said, yeah, my buddy Craig Rochelle. Now, Craig Rochelle is...
Never heard of him.
Well, he's the leader of what may be, he doesn't release the numbers, the largest church in the United States.
Oh.
And he is not Virgil Brown's buddy. And that was my first clue into the fact that and then subsequently he was preaching not only series. Mm-hmm. So you might say they already have the graphics. They already have the outlines. Hey, here's 8 messages that are that would be a cool, sort of, it's truth.
How to be a man of God.
On a most basic level, it's it's truth It's something good to share. It's timely. This is something I want to share with my church.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something kind of fuzzy about it when you start doing like word for word or essentially word for word copying. Especially, my problem was I think it's sort of justifiable even to go word. You could even make a case for word.
It's like if I came up with a story, like maybe a book series about some boy who like lived under a staircase who was actually a wizard and, was supposed to go to a school for wizardry.
But if you published it word for word, but just changed like 3 words, then we'd start to have a question. And especially when it came to the truthfulness of saying something like my buddy, or, hey, look, I found this. Hey, I did this thing for you. Hey, in my research this week, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I would have this game where I would look up, I would see how fast every week I could find a manuscript somewhere on the internet of the sermon. Because I started noticing, because he started preaching messages of other people I would listen to like podcasts of.
Mm-hmm.
And his speech would change, his inflections would change from week to week depending on who he was using.
Sometimes he was like, my brother. And then other weeks he was like, brothers and sisters.
Exactly. It was mostly a mix of white guys, but I get what you're feeling.
Sometimes he was like, what's up, fool?
No.
Oh.
Sometimes it was like goofy white guy, like who's the Simpsons guy? Scoodly Doodly or whatever.
Oh, you mean our father?
Yes.
What's his name?
I can't think of it right now. And then
Ned Flanders.
Ned Flanders. And then sometimes it was Mark Driscoll, who used to be the cussing pastor.
Yeah.
Have we talked about him on the podcast? There's some new news with him as well.
New news? Okay.
Anyway, CLC, why did we start talking about that? Michael Bowles went there. Anyways, I'm interested to see. Yeah. I actually somehow defended Virgil of preaching word for word and got kicked out of CLC at the same time for defending him. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, needless to say, CLC is in Port Orchard. I'm still going to church in Port Orchard. I haven't given up.
So if you're thinking about giving your life to Christ today, just kidding.
This is Port Orchard's finest evangelistic podcast. No. This is actually just Port Orchard's finest podcast. And even though we've had some challengers to the throne, we've still been voted 2 years in a row Port Orchard's finest podcast. And I didn't realize that, there were some people that I've gone to CLC with, or I just know sort of on the fringes who have started podcasts in Port Orchard.
Friends from high school.
Yeah, Pieces
Nightmare Collective.
Yeah, Nightmare Collective, another bad podcast. It's like there's some people out there. Somebody I forgot about. I didn't think would have a podcast. Delilah.
Does she have a pod?
Yes. And
Delilah.
I can't find the exact page because
you may have listened to 106.9 during the late 90s and early 2000s, and you may have heard love songs with Delilah.
I thought there was something that she had on Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood and stuff, but I can't find where that is now. But needless to say, I found that somewhere in there. But I went to her latest iTunes. And her latest thing on iTunes is freaking 2019. But listen, Brandi Carlile, Winona, Barry Manilow, Michael Bolton, Jim Caviezel. Side note, Jim Caviezel, I saw a Twitter clip of him like talking about...
I don't even know who that is.
The Jesus guy. Passion of the Christ Jesus guy.
He's the actor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's from here.
No.
He's from like Seattle, Tacoma.
Enumclaw?
Yeah, he's from Seattle, I think.
He got struck by lightning.
Struck by lightning twice, I think,
while filming. Yeah.
And but he's gone full like QAnon now. Oh. I saw him talking about they take babies and they get their blood and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, forget about him. Okay. But he's on there. Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
Nicole Nordman, great voice. But also Katy Perry.
Brandi Carlile, first off, was a good voice. The first person you mentioned.
I mean, she had some legit people. Some. I think I saw Brad Paisley, Carrie Underwood, Max Lucado, Christian person. So I mean,
Justin Bieber, he's Christian.
Just Selena Gomez, she got a cross tattoo on her clavicle.
Oh, that means she's going to heaven.
Mm-hmm. She did a song at Hillsong once, but it had like something about your.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it had stuff like about your lips in it. It was like too much of a crossover song.
Sloppy white kiss.
So, but needless to say, I mean, if we want to even consider Delilah a challenger or not,
I tell her to bring it.
That's not up to me. That's up to you, the people. If you are going to vote her Port Orchard's Finest podcast next year, voting's already closed for this year.
It on.
But 2022.
I don't care how many horses and, ammunition and freeze-dried meals you got on that ranch. Bring it on, Delilah.
From all accounts, she seems like a nice person.
Yeah.
Unless you're her ex-husband's. But everybody else... Oh, snap. Hit me with the...
I don't have... No, too late.
Dang it.
It is not ready. But
anyways, yeah, I just thought that was just a random thing from this week.
I just got one question for you.
I hope that comes out good.
Here, just edit in. Ready? And then back to wherever you want. Back to where we're. I got one question for you. What did you do today?
Okay, today. Do you want to tell the story about tonight?
Yeah, I do. Everyone wants to know.
This is a long story. So at Christmas time, Will surprised me and himself because I think he was more excited about it. And that's okay. I'm not taking anything away. You definitely were more excited about it, but I was very much excited to go see this night, this Friday, the time of we're recording, April 30th, 7 p.m. show at Tacoma Comedy Club. We saw
Mark Normand.
Who? That's your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian. And really, I actually texted this to Lauren today. I said, more than I'm excited about seeing Mark Normand, I was more excited about taking you, because you got last time for my birthday Norm McDonald's. Just happens to be similar, name sounding.
Yeah.
We went to Norm.
That might have been more about
SNL alum.
SNL alum. Norm Show alum.
In Seattle. That was what kicked off all of this, and like the sparking of our brotherly relationship and the podcast and everything. And so I was more excited for, I was like, now I was taking you to Mark Normand. It just happened to be my favorite comedian.
I will say it did feel kind of cool because I did feel like that all day and leading up to it. And so I wondered how it'd sort of feel today, but because when we did went to see Norm. Well, when I first contacted you about the tickets in December, when I actually bought them and we went in February.
Yeah.
When it was December, I mean, we had really not talked a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And
I think I had just like messaged you randomly, and I was like, Norm's coming to Seattle.
And so I just said, let's go. And
yeah, we're like, if I get these for your birthday, can you actually have it off of work?
Yeah. So we spent all the extra time before, we bonded over talking about how our dad has sort of ruined our psyches and etc. And we talked about making a time to get together. That's how this podcast started. And so then me thinking about today, going out and thinking about how when we record these podcasts is probably now one of the things I most look forward to. Even on the times where it's like, hey, we need to record, let's just walk in, record, then there's some times where we record and it's kind of fast. But mostly, we get to hang out. We talk before, we talk after, and like we talked about recently, the podcast is just getting more natural. It doesn't feel like a separate thing, a separate type of conversation.
Right.
And so with all those sort of feelings behind it, I was just thinking like, oh yeah, I wonder how I'll feel going out tonight.
Yeah.
Because when we went out to Norm, I didn't really know.
Oh yeah. I
actually didn't know how that night would go, really.
I was just excited because like we hadn't spent so little time together before that I had never like got you a drink before or anything like that. And so that was like, it was like you could have ordered, a $200 drink or, a mango White Claw. And I would have been like, I'm getting it, because I just like wanted, forever.
And I made up for it tonight.
Forever in my mind, I just like had this picture of like us meeting up somewhere, kind of like that classic like post work, like meet up in a smoky lounge and just like talk about work and our day and our lives and whatever, and then like go on with our lives or whatever.
Boob jobs, we did do that.
And so that's what I was like. That's like what I had in my head. So it's like no matter like what would have happened, like that's what I wanted to do,
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Let's talk about some highlights tonight.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about some notable moments. First of all, I did mention boob jobs because I do sometimes talk about boob jobs with a specific person for a specific reason, not randomly, with a person at work who is a female, wants a boob job, and that's just what it is. That's what life is. Some people want a boob job sometimes. The reason it was on my mind tonight is Will and I were sitting in the front row. Front row was actually, 10 feet from the stage?
Yeah.
We happened to be dead center, front row. The stage is probably only 10 feet wide, really.
10 feet wide, 3 feet tall.
Stage right, it goes up to a, quote unquote balcony, which is just a little, it's set.
Elevated seating area.
Elevated seating. It's just a couple feet, 1 foot really above the stage. But to stage left, it drops off. There's another table right there.
Same level as us. Floor level.
They're sort of kitty corner, 45 degrees. They're sort of.
For me, straight eye shot.
Oh, yeah, you were straight. When I was looking at Mark Norman, I was sort of dead center. When I was looking at him, they were only sort of peripheral.
For me, it was, I could have easily looked at them more than him.
But, I have the brain that I have. And even if there's something in your periphery that grabs your attention, even when you know it's there and you're trying not to look, you just get a peek sometimes. And that was this lady. Some lady was exceptionally cleavaged tonight.
And exceptionally.
And they rolled in late. Which
so we were already looking towards
that
the
was
stage.
A thing too.
We were already like ready for a show.
If they wouldn't have rolled in late, it would have been different.
We're already ready for a show. A lady walks in, tatted up, 2 to 7% body fat,
skinny little waist, big thing in your face. Go.
And not the
round thing in your face.
No, and not
two round things in your face.
Exactly, not the normal round thing you're thinking of. Not the posse on Broadway was not thinking of this. At first, they were thinking of. Then they saw these 2 round things in your face, and they were large size.
Yeah, and me, I wanted to stare for a scientific reason, which was I needed to know they
were outliers in this equation.
But they were done a certain way though, it's one of the hard things about seeing people out in public and not knowing them, because I really like, okay, these breast implants, they were low.
Low.
And that was the interesting part. So they were low. So
They were low, and they were also a good like half seedless watermelon size.
They were big, but they were also low. So I would say from like clavicle to like man's nipple. So let's just think about man's nipple. That's completely flat. It
Yes.
wasn't saggy or anything.
Yeah, it was almost 6 inches of straight chest.
That's what exactly. That's what was interesting about it. The top was flat, but then you had, I mean,
Yeah, 2 halves of a kickball.
like, I don't want to be
super glued to a wall.
I don't want to be disrespectful here, but bazongas, okay? No. What? Why do names like that even exist? Okay, but anyway, but the breast implants, they were large, but I wanted to know the scientific peculiarity of where they were placed.
They were low hanging, but they weren't hanging. They're just low stuck.
Like they are.
And also, they weren't forward protruding.
You know what? You're right. They didn't go out that far.
So it was a very large,
it was like
circumference shape, but not forward.
It was weird.
It was low
because they were overdone and not overdone at the same time. It was strange. But anyways, they
overdone, not correctly placed.
They didn't laugh a lot. They were distracted the whole time.
Literally, Mark Norman said, "Oh, I finally caught you guys not talking." What did he say?
Yeah, something like that.
Something along the lines of, "Oh, you weren't talking that time." He made some dig at them while he was doing his jokes.
There were some throwaway lines that I think he would have said to anybody who was sitting at the front tables. But yeah, they did talk a little bit. And the opener, what was his name? Andrew,
what do we say?
Rivers.
Rivers.
Is it Andrew, right? Andrew Rivers. So we get there. The MC is
Andrew Rivers. You can find him on Dry Bar Comedy.
What's his Insta?
Andrew J. Rivers on the Insta.
So usually the MC is like a local person. So this guy gets up and his voice didn't project a lot, but we were in the front row. We were in this weird spot because of COVID.
We were a little
tables
under
are kind of
the
spread
speaker.
out. But we were under the speakers, but because they have the front,
followed by Pat McAfee.
But because the front tables are moved back, it's like we're not getting the audio splash of the stage to sort of fill in the sound that we're missing from the speakers. So we're in this sort of dead zone. So the MC, he was a little quiet. Was he quiet to you?
Everyone was like quieter.
So, but the MC is usually a local person. They're not as funny as everybody else, unless you get it like a real banger, like a real like pro in some town or whatever. But this was just like a local guy. But he was good enough.
Oh yeah,
he was all right. But I was like, is the audio going to be this way the whole time?
Here he is with John Ryan, February 25th.
And so then he goes and introduces. He's like, and I was always wondering, is like, you know, these comedians, they get a opener to come out with them, and they usually travel with them and whatever. It's not very often that you just get a local opener or a local feature, they say. So when the MC goes, hey, this guy's a friend of mine, in my heart and in my mind,
yeah,
I immediately sort of dropped.
Yeah, we're like, here we go.
I was like, what's it? COVID. I understand people aren't like, whatever, you know, just like, we're just going to get some Joe Schmo up here who's not going to be funny.
Yeah, sober guy from Tacoma that thinks he's cool.
Yeah, but he was from around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And he was straight fire for 25 minutes.
Oh, yeah, joke after joke after joke.
Oh, man, you would have thought he was a headliner. It was like, it was awesome. It was so funny. And good dude, Andrew Rivers. Check him out.
Yeah, on his Instagram, he says he's from Seattle, but he's probably from Federal Way.
So that was the first like great thing of the night. Well, first we went to a tiki bar and I had some.
You had a real tiki drink.
The drinks there were just. It was too crazy. It was just like.
We went to the Devil's Reef, the most premier tiki bar in the Pacific Northwest.
Satan's Sea Bottom.
Satan's Sea Bottom, Beelzebub's Boondock, the Devil's Reef, and the premier tiki bar of the Northwest. Michael was slightly overwhelmed by the 30 tiki beverages.
A couple things. I was not expecting outfits.
People were outfitted up.
I like to make friends with people I'm out with or whatever. So like the girl who came to our table, even though she was a little like
at the comedy club.
No. At the tiki bar.
Yeah.
Outfit.
She was definitely a little rough around the edges.
She had sort of a standoffish attitude, but I feel like if she wouldn't have had her mask on, I could like break her down and have a conversation. We'd be exchanging instas and we'd be friends. And that's what I like to do when I'm out. I like to make friends with people, especially if I see people like not opening up. It's almost like a personal challenge to me to get them to open up a little bit.
She said something and I was like, oh, thanks. And she goes, sure.
And that's either a positive or a negative quality about me.
Yeah.
There's a few people who find it positive. I will say most people find it negative, but it's just a little thing I like to do. It's just, if somebody needs their day made.
And I'm the guy that likes to wave at people on the side of the road.
Well, and I don't do that. So potato. That's not what potato is, but and people were outfitted up. We went to the tiki bar. The names are sort of over the top. Mine was like freaking
Antarctic Expedition.
It was too crazy. Just every kind of alcohol and flavoring mixed in one drink. It's like, how do you have room?
It's a lot of rum, a lot of spices, and a lot of fruit juice.
Yeah, I'm like, there must be like one drop of everything to be able to fit it in this whole glass. And so what's the point? He takes a vodka drink. He takes a cider drink. He takes a whiskey drink. He takes a lager drink. Okay? Just keep it simple.
If you've been to a tiki bar, you know that on the menu, each drink has a number of skulls next to it. And that lets you decide how turnt you're getting.
Yeah, so I got super turnt by the time. And mostly we were just sitting there on our phones when we were there. But that's okay. We were sharing photos,
Instagram.
Talking about mom's text messages.
Reading mom's emails.
And
we were just doing some biz.
And I was, admiring, the outfits that people were wearing. And I was like, oh, they're really going all in on this theme. There's a fine line between theme and overly themed. And I don't know what I thought about that place. I'm still making up my opinion.
I mean, you've seen, I've dedicated 2% of my abode to the tiki bar. I've got the
tacos were good. The food was good.
Yeah, I've got the tiki bar drink menu. I've got the cupboard of tiki glasses, and you have a shameful tiki swizzle stick in your cup right now. You got shades on as we're in a darkly lit, candlelit room.
They'll call you Shades.
Oneaters.
Oh man!
If you haven't,
if I can work in the word Oneaters into my day, it's a great day.
I told you I tried to bring up the movie That Thing You Do, which we're talking about referencing right now. If you don't know, featuring Tom Hanks.
Feet. Parentheses feet. Period. Tom Hanks.
Yeah, it's a movie called That Thing You Do, featuring the Oneaters. If you don't know, you need to know. Look it up.
So, one great thing, tiki bar, people not opening up. I'm trying to make friends with the next waitress at the comedy club, Tacoma Comedy Club.
She was stressed out.
She was nice, though.
She was nice, but stressed.
She was stressed. Nice. I think they're just getting back in the flow of things.
Yep.
And we weren't ordering for some reason.
We had never been there before.
Yes. And I think it was like, do we order now? Do we order this? Are you coming around? When is the next time you're going to be here?
Yeah.
She's just like,
and
just
then,
please freaking order.
yeah, we also were trying to figure out, because we had the tickets that like included drinks and food. So we're like, what does this actually include? And so we're like trying to figure all that out.
So,
and she's just like, just get it over with.
So we also got nachos, which were like 7 chips and 7 pounds of cheese.
And
did
so
you notice
much,
that?
And
Where?
so much grease or cheese juice, whatever it was.
I dropped it on my arm because the nachos were behind me, but I was hungry.
So whatever chips were there turned into, floppy jalopies.
Oh, tell me about it. It's my nickname in high school. Anyways, so there's a lot of good things about the night. One was Andrew Rivers. One was the expenditures Will took out on me, and which I appreciated. And I just want to say publicly to these 7 people who listened, thank you. And it was a really fun night.
Yeah.
And of course, Mark Norman is known for being a guy who brings it every night because he's a joke guy. He doesn't really go by mood. Like, you can be up or down, based on how you're doing. Like, are you lonely in your town? Is something going in your personal life? Do you have something in your mind? Are you feeling good? Are you buzzed? Are you whatever? Good set, bad set, whatever.
He's bringing the same
guys.
heat.
Yes, guys who are solid joke guys their material is just ready to blow, and that's what kind of guy Mark Norman is. So he was bringing the funny from the drop.
Oh yeah, minute 1 to minute whatever it was.
Yeah, so
the whole time.
It was,
so he's my favorite comedian. I listen to anything he touches on YouTube, any sort of, podcast or anything. I'll watch anything he posts. I listen to his own podcast, Tuesdays with Stories, on the regular. And even with all of that and listening to all of that, every Instagram story and whatnot, still he brought the all new content.
Yeah,
jokes.
It was so funny.
I was laughing the whole time. Cheeks hurt.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. There was a couple times where you and I were really in sync, laughing when other people weren't laughing, and I sort of like that. It was sort of like a good feeling kind of moment. We don't have the same sense of humor on everything, but when other people weren't laughing as hard, but you and I were laughing, that was kind of fun because he has those couple of mannerisms and funny things that are just, I don't think people realize how much they add to the joke. It's sort of like the psychology of it. They hear the joke, they don't realize how much they're taking in of those other things, or how much funnier.
Yeah, their personality and mannerisms and energy that they're bringing on the stage as opposed to hearing it.
Yeah, so then we got a picture with him afterwards, and it was funny. And then he patted me on the butt when we left.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went out to, what is it? The Wheel Hub?
Loose Wheel.
The Loose Wheel.
The premier.
Let me just describe it when we go in here.
Tacoma's premier sports bar.
Tacoma's bare bonesiest sports bar. That's how I describe it.
It's COVID.
And so it was, imagine a Buffalo Wild Wings
without the wings,
with a pool table plus pool table, sans wings, sans about 60 screens.
True.
And sans about 60% of the people. And sans,
in terms of friendliest servers, though, come on, Loose Wheel gets the.
Shanice brought it tonight.
She gets the ribbon.
And she gets a ribbon. And you can probably guess from her name, Shanice, that she was, yes, super nice. And that's what I loved about her. I didn't know what to order. She ordered me something, and I appreciate you, Shanice. Thank you. Thank you for being a listener.
Mm-hmm. She just wanted us to be taken care of and be happy.
She thought that would make her happy, so therefore she thought it would make me happy. And whether that was true or not, I don't know, but I appreciated the spirit of it.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's true. It's not about the gift. It's about the giver. Sometimes it's solely about the gift and, F the giver. But, yeah, sometimes it is about the giver.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And so, yeah, I just want to say, yeah, thank you for a fun night. We had a fun day. I came over here at 2:30 today. And now what time is it?
11:53.
11:53.
PMs.
And, yeah, it's really fun.
How much time do we have?
Really none, I think, but
okay.
Well, you got something quick? I'm not sure how much of that front part I got to cut around.
No, I don't think so.
Delilah has an open invitation to come on the pod, or I'd be happy to come on her pod.
I was going to talk about my future comedic endeavors.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's not.
Okay, well,
we can make it quick.
Bring this in. Yes, so I have been wanting to for a long time, for a few years. Been wanting to at least try, and this was before the podcast, before anything, at least do one open mic set at a comedy club. It first got my attention at Bob's Java Jive on South Tacoma Way.
Yeah.
Check it out. Purple and gold zebra print bar top.
Put their Instagram handle up here.
It's quite the crazy place, but there used to be, prior to COVID, a lot of open mic stuff there and a lot of just, people trying things out. But I've also been watching a lot of the Kill Tony podcast, which they feature people for 1 minute to do a 1 minute stand up, and then they kind of like ask them the questions. And they're coming around to Tacoma, so I wanted to put in for that too. But I think I got a minute or two of some good stand up, I think. So I've wanted to try that. So when they come around, Kill Tony at the end of June, I'm gonna put in for that. But also, we were looking tonight, and Tacoma Comedy Club does a new talent night on Tuesdays, and I probably will put in for that too at some point. I think it'll be worth a try.
Yeah, so Will wants to try, and so I'm not sure. People operate their open mic nights sort of differently, so I'd like to get on with you and do it together, but it'd be nice to have a group of people to go out. I think that'd be really fun.
We've discovered tonight also, if you have less than 2 people, you may be seated with another 2-seater.
Yeah, which is fine. They were behind us. That guy had a cleft lip. That's okay. Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah. Well, that's because he was Asian, and that's racist. But I noticed
didn't even see that he was Asian.
He was Asian, and he had a cleft lip.
I only saw him with his mask on.
And that's fine. And he was a nice guy, and it was a nice girl. But really, their backs were to us, and so
I could have cared less about them when
Mark
Norman was in front of me.
They didn't laugh at me when I got sour cream on my pocket, why was the sour cream like runny like milk? I don't know. Will I have diarrhea later? Probably. But we will, at some point, try to go to open mic night.
We'll let you know when, too.
If it's just you, that's okay. If it's more than you, that's okay. That would be fun.
It would be fun to have a group of people to go.
That would be fun. So, yeah, we should
you know
definitely
who was there when I went to Bob's Java Jive for comedy?
Who?
Senior Baldwin, our listener. One of our top listeners.
Who is our top listener?
Yeah, it's a heated competition, I would say, between Senior Baldwin, Big Nate, and Barber Son John.
I don't know.
And your own wife.
No, I'd say Karen more than my own wife.
Well, then
Karen many times listens to them when they drop.
Then I would say...
And laughs harder than Tammy does.
Then I would say Karen is up there with Big Nate.
Yeah. I think Karen and Nate need to fight it out, duke it out.
Well, in that case.
It's Karen. So, anyways, well, you know it's getting late because my voice is getting deeper and
sexier.
So, yeah, I just want to thank Delilah.
Like and subscribe. I want to
thank the listeners. I want to thank you for subscribing. I do want to remind you that the studio has been cleaned out. So I'm going to be filling up that studio with furniture. I'm going to be putting up some couches and some chairs and some microphones. I'm going to be hooking up a camera. It's going to be on a tripod. No, it's not for sex, it's for podcasting. And I'm going to put the manual focus on. And pretty soon in the near future, you will be seeing some Bad Brothers podcast on video. Hit me with the music.